This morning I had an email from a fellow woodworker who is working on a model of a little box that he's going to build. It's something like this, but it'll have some drawers in it. And among his questions was an inquiry about how to draw secret dovetails. Something of this nature where from the outside it looks like a miter joint, but there's the dovetail to provide some strength. So I thought I'd do a little video and show how this goes. Let's take a look. So here's my basic box. I've drawn the parts to their full size, and the ends are instances of the same component, as are the top and the bottom. So if I open this end for editing, see when I select this edge, an edge gets selected in the opposite end. And I flipped or mirrored the right end copy from the left end. So it's the outside corner here. That's not a rotational operation, it's a mirroring operation, and it's important to make sure you're doing that instead of just rotating end for end. If you did rotate the part end for end at this stage, they'd look the same, but the results after you get your joinery cut would make them look different. And actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the same sort of idea that I used in the angled box joint video. I'm going to reduce the end boards to half, and I'll just, when I get to them, I will copy that geometry and make the rest of the board that way. And we'll hide that. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to, I've forgotten how long I made this, so I'll just find the midpoint. And I'll do the same thing with the top and the bottom. And we don't need that guideline, so we'll clear that out of there. And so now it's time to start setting out the joint. So I'm going to open the component for editing, and I'm going to select this edge. Rather than laying out the first line that I want, I'm just going to copy a line that I've got using the move tool. I'll just copy that down 1/4 of an inch. This is where there's going to be a bevel. And so what I'm going to do to create that bevel, I could use push-pull and then some other steps to create that, but it's a whole lot easier to just do this with the move tool. So I've selected that entire face and its bounding edges with a double click with the select tool. And then with the move tool, I'm just going to move this down, and you'll see how I'm stretching that part that's getting the bevel. I'm just going to go 1/4 of an inch. So I've got a 45-degree bevel on that part there. And now I'm going to close the component for editing, and that's just to reduce the clutter that I'd get from guidelines. If you have the component open for editing, when you put in the guidelines, you get them in both components and they can get confusing. So now I've set out a guideline 1/4 of an inch in, and that area right in here is going to get a bevel as well, part of the miter. That's going to be my first half pin, and we'll make an inch to where the next pin is. I measure basically an inch along there. And then at the back, there's a 1/2 inch for rabbet for the back panel to fit into. There's a 1/4 of an inch for the miter there, and a 1/4 of an inch for the last half pin. Or is that the first half pin? Anyway, actually before I open that, I need to put in some angled guidelines as well. So yellow protractor, And let's use 8 degrees because it's a nice round number. And for no other reason than that. And now, I'm just going to trace my guidelines, put in a couple of edges there. So that defines that first socket. That's the size of the tails that I'll need to make. And I'm going to copy this down, being sure I grabbed at that top corner there, because I can lock that right or snap that right to that where that guideline crosses the horizontal line there. Let's back out here so we can look at the whole thing and kind of get on it endwise here. So I'll hit enter after that to set that move distance, and then hit the slash key, and let's see what 5 looks like. 5 is going to create pins that are way too wide for my taste. See what divide by 7 does. That'll work. You could play with that all night if you don't start another tool or another operation. And now we'll push in 1/2 inch and create the dovetail pins. All right, let's add the miter here, or complete the miter, so we'll just bring that in. And then I can take that edge and move it back out and complete that. If I delete this face or this edge and the face goes with it, I know that this is not coplanar. These two beveled surfaces aren't coplanar, but they are in this case. And we'll do the same thing here. So we would cut the bevel there, and we'll bring that edge back out, and we'll cut the rabbet in the edge later. So that's done. Let's copy all of that geometry down here a ways, and then we'll flip that along the red direction, grab it at that corner, and bring it back in here. And then should just drag a left to right selection box around there and hit delete. And both ends, you can see it in the bottom one, both ends now have dovetails. We're finished with the guidelines, so we'll clear those out. And I'm going to switch the camera to parallel projection and shift to the front view. Zoom in here so that this is visible. When I switch to X-ray, you can see the vertical line here this is the bottom of the recesses that we've just cut. And I'm going to open the component for editing, and I'm going to copy that geometry to the clipboard. So Control C, Command C on the Mac. And now get back out into perspective view. I find that a lot easier to work with when I'm orbiting and that sort of thing. Let's expose our hidden geometry so we can find this top piece, and we'll bring it back. And so we'll unhide that and turn off our hidden geometry and hide the top. All right, with this open for editing, I'm going to do some of the same sorts of things that I did already. So the first thing I'm going to do is copy this edge. This time I'm copying back 1/2 inch. I could have come the other way. And then I'm going to, again, move this down 1/4 inch to create that bevel. All right. Now we use Edit Paste in Place. I have a keyboard shortcut for that. And that puts in the geometry that I copied. I need to put in a vertical line there and another one here. And then I have to actually draw a line across that way. Tell you what, we'll deselect that stuff. So this time I'm making the tails, which are these sections. I don't want to get rid of those. I need to get rid of the ones in between. So we're cutting the sockets here. And just double click with the push-pull tool. Takes care of that. And then we have to put a bevel on the ends here. And I want to show you another interesting little thing. First, I'm going to delete. Let's get out of X-ray mode. That'll make it a little less confusing. All right. There we go. Clean up those edges. And actually, we can do the same thing here and here. This is something that's not real obvious about inferencing, but if I select this edge and I start moving down with it in the blue direction and hold Shift, I can lock that direction. And if I bring the tool up so it's on the bevel that I've already got, I end up creating a coplanar bevel here. It goes down to the so that that's all at the same angle. It's kind of a slick little trick. Again, I don't think a lot of people know that the inferencing tool will do that. So again, select that edge, start down, in this case, on the blue axis and hold the Shift key, and then bring the cursor up onto the diagonal surface, and that bevel is cut. And again, we'll leave the rabbit for later, and we'll copy this geometry down. It's not critical how far down as long as we clear the original. Right click and choose flip along. In this case, it's the blue direction. Grab at the corner and bring it up here to the other corner. Delete those edges. And we will edit, unhide all. And that is our secret dovetails all cut on all 4 corners. Too bad you can't just cut one corner in the shop and have all of them done. But this will get you out to the shop a little faster this way. So see if you can make that work for you.